Hi, people. Well, I'm here in my living room, and I've just been talking to somebody a little bit about wild farming and regenerative farming. Wild farming feels fine to me, really working with Mother Nature, really following what she does and doing it yourself and learning from Mother Nature. Somebody was talking about remineralization of soils, and that if you did wild farming or regenerative farming, you might have problems with this because of, I'm not quite sure actually what. But anyway, it went on from there to say, normally the land would be regenerated and remineralized through the action of large herbivores like cows and sheep and all of those animals that we know on farms. Also, of course, deer, if one allowed deer to come onto one's land, which I personally would. These guys are ruminants. They've got 4 stomachs, and so their digestive system is totally amazing. It's not the same as a horse. A horse only has 1 stomach. And so their digestive system is really superb. So when they put their feces on the land, it has all that could possibly be needed, provided they've been fed properly. If they've been fed fairly, naturally or as wild as possible, and that should include trees and leaf branches and woody bits of hedges and all that kind of thing, because did you know cows are actually forest animals? They're like deer. So their natural food, the food that Mother Nature designed them to eat, would include bits of tree and twigs and leaves and all that sort of stuff, as well as all the herbs that would normally grow in natural pasture and may well should grow in organic hedges. So fencing your cattle off from hedges is actually going to give them diet problems. And stopping them going in woods is also going to give them diet problems. So they won't actually be able to give back to the soil as much as they would like. So you sort of go, well, I know we've been separating everything off since the year dot, effectively, since we first invented fields, but is that a good idea? Before that, when we were pastoralists, we followed the herds through the forest, and we would have kept some that we used ourselves and milked them and ate them, used their skins for shoes, for clothes, for shelter, all the stuff that we did. But they would have had access to everything that nature says they should have. And then we decided they're mine, not yours, mine. And so we fenced them off. And we also perhaps worried and thought about, are other animals going to get them? And we became, because they were mine, really worried that, somebody was going to take what's mine. And we were no longer able to share. So we messed up cattle and sheep and deer and everything quite a lot in our old ways. Now, I've known some wild farmers, in fact, I still do, and their animals get the chance to eat trees and forest and shrubs and bushes and herbs and everything, all the stuff that would naturally grow on the land. So if you're going to do that, why don't you go all the way and actually put trees back in your land? Make small fields with wide hedges and deep, what they call headlands. That's the place where you don't cultivate at all, 15, 20 foot wide out from each hedge. So that gets all wild. It's all full of herbs. I mean, the farmer down the on whose farm I live on, he's got that in his fields. And I go down there in April, May, June, and often the headlands, and they're really deep, and they're beautiful places to walk as well, they're full of things like chamomile and all the other herbs, and there's mints and thymes and things like that growing in them. And when he puts his animals in there, of course, they get the chance to eat that. So, their diet is better. He still fences the hedges off from them a bit. I think he worries that they're going to bash the hedges down. But I come from Devon. In Devon, we have what's called the Devon Bank. And that's a cut and laid hedge on top of a big earth bank. And the base of the bank will be 6, 8, 10 feet wide. And it's like a raised piece of soil. And then it's planted with all native trees. And then they're half cut and bent over that way so that all the new shoots spring up. And then a few years later, you do it again. And you get this fantastic natural windbreak hedge. And you're going to have quite some animal. I mean, an elephant would do it. But your average cow is not going to hurt it. So you don't need to fence it off from her. She's going to be fine and she's going to eat all the stuff. And anyway, if you do your hedging properly, you can mend any bits that get broken. Are we doing this? Not enough. Some people do, but it's nothing like enough. And then I discovered that there's another problem. It never occurred to me until someone told me that quite a lot of farmers who do regenerative farming also, because you don't till that, you don't dig it up, so you don't clear out all the weeds, herbs, etc. Blah. You leave them, and things grow together. So do you know what they do? In the strips in between, they're not going to dig the earth, but they're going to drill out strips to plant the crops that they want to put in there in. And so before they actually drill, they cover the land in glyphosate. Yeah, really, in glyphosate. And they kill all the weeds. They kill everything else as well. And they wreck the soil, and they wreck the mycorrhiza. So regenerative farming doesn't work very well because my crops don't go so well. I need to put fertilizer, or I need to put bought fertilizer made by big companies and farmer companies on it because they don't grow so well. It's because you're not doing it right, mate. So it's one of those sort of things that for me is really important. I love the idea of regenerative farming and wild farming particularly and all this stuff, but please do it right. Don't make it an excuse that's going to get you more votes or money or sell your produce better or some other kind of business aspect and still carry on really doing the same as you always did. It doesn't work and it's not right and it's not rewilding and it's not regenerative. So my message on that is really look into everything. If somebody says a lovely word to you like regenerative farming, it sounds great, lovely. I thought so too. Look into it. What do they actually mean? What does everybody actually mean? Do they all do this or only some of them? So test everything out, check it out. Don't just believe what somebody tells you. It's a great idea just to keep checking and to keep looking and go and look for everything that I've said today. Go and look it up and go and find out for yourself. That really empowers you and that's going to get you wild at heart. Bye for now.